in certain ways, this was kind of the easiest record, even though the beginning of it was pretty difficult, because we had, I feel like the record has, not that it's a genre record, but it really feels to me at least, and I've heard other people say this, that have heard it, like it's a document that exists like it sounds like a band went and made a record, you know, like this is the sound they wanted to have, and it was made in a compressed time period kind of thing. And, you know, we had some like poppier stuff for us on our last record, and the sort of mission statement on this one was like, we're gonna make a darker, heavier record.
Also, like the band, you know, we started as a totally like, you know, like a noise band, like a 4-piece band, and then we had the long weekend of making the new hybrid electronic version. We were at Death Magic, and there's all this shit there. So like in this one, it's like we figured out how to we can work all this shit, so we can do it like in a regular amount of time.
Yeah, a big part of the process of the record before this was like Max Payne took a long time, and then after that there was a sort of wilderness era of us. It's always important to us when we make a record for there to be like a pretty demonstrable like stylistic and production shift. Like we don't, you know, some bands come out and they have like a fully formed aesthetic where they're just like, they come out of the gates and they're just like, everybody loves it and it communicates itself like really effortlessly. And we don't have that, but what we do have is like our ability to sort of change a lot and try a lot of different things. And we've been lucky to have a fan base that is very, very loyal and will kind of go with us. And a big, huge time-consuming part of that on Death Magic, which is the record before this one, was getting this. We wanted like a huge jump in production value, like fidelity and like power and clarity. And we ended up working with a producer that finished that record, and that was just invaluable to things being more timely because we didn't have to find that guy. Like this next one, we just worked with him again. So a big part of like the time wastage on the record before this was like, okay, who the fuck is gonna finish this record? Like, we're not gonna do it ourselves. Who's gonna like pull all the sounds together? So we already had that. Our producer, Lars Stolfers, like he had done the last record. So then this time it was like, the conversation is literally just like, okay, let's start booking time. Not like, let's start going to meetings with producers and let's do random dates with them and see how it sounds and if we vibe. Like all that shit was cut out. So that was a huge, like without it, it would have taken forever.
We've just always wanted to be a heavy band, but we were trying to be something, you know, unique, and that's what we saw in Noise, like a way that was like really fresh to be like this really intense band. And like as time goes, it's like, we kind of see ourselves, and it makes zero sense, you can never describe it, we kind of see ourselves like a hard rock band, you know, like,
it's true though.
Yeah, it's true. It's like, it's like before you get to metal, but you can have all these different songs. Like
It's
Led Zeppelin is a hard rock band, you know.
So
like,
we're a modern.
even Black Sabbath, you could argue is that even the start of metal, it's like hard rock band, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, we're a
It's
hard
like it's
rock.
not. We don't
we're
have
a
like
modern
crazy
hard rock
chops,
band.
you know. Like nobody's shredding. It's like it's a modern hard rock band,
So we
which
also
is like
know
not a
when to be
very sexy.
And it doesn't make
appealing-
sense. You can never explain it. But that's kind of in the wheelhouse. Like this is a hard rock band. This is what it sounds like right now. So that's kind of the secret thing. We're also very.
It's like
into,
there's a rock
classic
band
rock.
playing at in the shitty club in the movie that was made in the 90s about the future, you know, like that's our band kind of.
So we're very, very obsessed with heaviness, but it's like, it's not a hardline conservative genre where it's like a based on the style. It's like, it's a hard rock band. Or the early metal bands when they called metal, but it wasn't metal. It was like proto-metal now, but then would be called metal. It's like, that shit all sounds different. You're like fucking Rainbow or like, Deep Purple. That's a fucking metal band. At the time it was a metal band. Now you'd say no. So it's like, we're like a fucking Deep Purple. Like it's like a hard rock band.
Yeah, I mean,
I know it doesn't make no sense, but that's what we're thinking.
Yeah, well, to me, it's kind of like we have like a lifelong obsession with heavy music, and we've just been in different permutations. Because like for John and I, especially, like the whole band came up on classic rock. Like that's like and you wouldn't necessarily listen to the band and be like, I bet those guys are really into classic rock, but we are. But the problem with that is it's like, say you really love Sabbath or Zeppelin or some shit, and you're like, dude, that shit's been done and it's been done really well.
Oh yeah, you ain't.
Like, what are you gonna do? I'm gonna come in like I'll show you what these guys missed. I got something to add, you know. So we were just like, we're not gonna do that because it's all been done so well. So let's figure out our own avenue of like having something to contribute that's novel to a way to communicate music that's physical and aggressive. Because like coming up on punk rock, you know, and metal, or when you are at, there's just no substitutes for the visceral nature of being at a show where people are playing cathartic, visceral music. And we just wanted to figure out a way to do that in our own way and not suck at it. And so for me, it's trying to like rip some riffs that someone just has done a million times better, you know, didn't seem like the entryway into it for us. But exactly what John was saying, we're like, in our mind's eye, it's like, doesn't make sense, but we're a hard rock band.
We're going more electronic to get more dog, to get more heavy.
Oh, sorry.
We call it the heaviness dog. So like
whenever we say something needs to be heavier,
it needs more dog.
It needs more dog.
So like
that's
on the real, it's like
it's a very roundabout. There's an episode of The Simpsons, the red tick beer, and Homer takes a drink of it, and he's like, interesting. And then it cuts to the factory, the brewery where they're brewing the beer, and there's these fucking dogs swimming around in the brewery tank, and the guy dips his finger in, and he goes, needs more dog. And so it just means it needs more of something.
So basically, you know, turn of the 2010s or whatever, there is a ton of electronic music that is so this like insane, blowing out of your speakers, kicking your fucking ass. Lifelong heavy music, it's like we don't have that. So like that's why we have like an 808 is fucking huger than anything in the world, you know? So it's like that's why we're like everything we're using, every tool to get the most fucking dog. You know, you fucking crank the transients on this fucking snare sample. It's like, that really hurts. It makes me blink when I hear it, like, that's dog. And like, that's what...
Well, John definitely was very fucked up by dubstep, because it's like, he knows
so much dog.
He knows it's horribly tasteless, but he's just like, Jesus, so much dog in here, it's just kicking my ass.
So we had like, once I was like, we gotta get that much dog. So like, that's why like, we are, you know, we're doing this, whatever you wanna call it, but like,
it's all in the service of dog.
Yeah, we're maxing those transients, those kicks, and those snares. It's like, you can't do that.
Or like, you know, take a fucking crazy scream and a white noise sample and rekey them and blend them with a guitar hit. It's just like, it doesn't matter just so long as you're just
like we have the technology.
Yeah,
I mean, we can get a lot of fucking
especially
dog.
for John, the joke is always that like, you know, you want it to be like, that nobody could listen to the records. Like, dude, you listen to your health records? Like, no, I put it in my car and like, I crashed the car. Like, my girlfriend's in the hospital. I couldn't listen to it.
I have a 14-inch sub in my trunk. My shit is fucking loud.
Yeah, it's like I passed out.
Terrible. But so yeah, like we're like this thing. Like we're working so hard. Doing
I think that 14-inch sub is not a good thing though.
No,
hearing damage is accelerated.
We're just trying to get you the most dog for your buck, and so we're innovating here. It's like.
Now I don't know if anybody wants it.
None of it wants it, but Jesus, there'll be a band after us.
I don't know.
That's why I want to work with output and like make an instrument and like I want it to be easy so the young kids now be like can make in 2 seconds like a hip hop track and be like there you go, that's a dog machine.
But
you know?
I don't know that there's any demand.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any demand.
That's the story.
We listen to heavy music though, so
yeah, people still like to listen to heavy music.
Yeah, so I'm saying like when I love heavy music, I'm like, where's that bass, buddy? Like I want more dog. So that's what we're doing.